Hello everyone, today's video is going to be all about Disneyland and how to go with a baby and a toddler, or just a baby, or just a toddler. I'm going to share with you guys all my tips and tricks on how to make your day a lot more enjoyable, a little bit more easygoing. And then also, as you guys know, on June 15th, they completely released a ton of the COVID guidelines. And that is the day that we actually went. So we went on the 15th and the 16th. And it was the first day of no masks, no temperature checks. Everything like really changed from what we heard from other people that went the day prior. So I'm gonna share with you guys what to expect there right now. Just remember and keep in mind that things are constantly changing there. And there's a lot of protocols they are still doing that are just a pain in the butt, but I'm gonna share with you guys like little tips and stuff on how to handle it all and how to get through it, because they don't tell you anything. So anyways, give this video a thumbs up if you love Disneyland and you can't wait to go back, and comment down below when you are planning your next trip there. And let's go ahead and get in the video. All right, so the first half of the video is going to be all about what to expect right now during COVID times, and then the second half will be all about the kids. So first off is the lines to get into downtown Disney. They are going to check all your bags. So try to make sure, like if you have kids and you got strollers and stuff, make sure that your bags are all easily accessed. You just like literally take them out, pop them up, and you just make it really quick. So make sure everything's really organized. That line is pretty long. Once you get through that, you have to go through another line, and that is to get into the park. That line was also very long for us because everyone was trying to get in at the exact same time. That line actually went by pretty quickly. I think we waited in it for about 15-20 minutes. The biggest thing is make sure you have your ticket out and your ID, and then they snap a picture of you. So just have that all out ready, and that will make it go a lot faster. So once you get in the park, because we were kind of nervous, like when we saw this huge line, we're like, oh my God, is it going to be packed today? Because everything is supposed to be at 25% capacity. When you actually get in the park, it's actually really enjoyable. Things are spread out. There's not like a ton of people to where you can't maneuver your stroller, you can't walk around. It's actually really nice. And one thing that I heard that Disneyland is like kind of getting back from people, that people really enjoy the reservations because it allows you to enjoy Disneyland a little bit more rather than being overly crowded, which is so true. So I really hope they keep the reservations there. It makes it a lot nicer. I do recommend, if you are planning a trip to Disneyland or Disney California Adventure Park, is to plan it during the week. The best days to go are Tuesday and Wednesdays, because Mondays and Fridays people can easily take a 3-day or a 4-day weekend. So a lot of people don't take time off from work in the middle of a week. And I have found that Tuesdays always seems to be the best. So Tuesdays and Wednesdays are the time to go, and then also try to go when the kids are in school. Just kind of plan it way in advance. That way you can request a time off of work and also let the kids' school know. And that way it's a lot more enjoyable. Me and my mom did that with Riley when she was 10 months old, and we literally walked onto every single ride. Even when it was like right when they opened up the new Star Wars land and everything, and that was even completely empty. And we walked right onto that ride like over and over again. So I definitely recommend Tuesday, Wednesdays are the best times to go. Another thing that you need to make sure that you do before you enter the park is make sure that you have the Disneyland app downloaded on your phone, which you probably should have it anyways, because that's how you can get your tickets. And if you need to give your tickets to anyone else, you can have them link the tickets on their app, or you can just screenshot their ticket and send it to them, and then boom, there's their ticket for the day. So it makes it really easy in that way. So definitely have the app all set and ready, and it allows you to be able to do a ton of different things. You can even see the wait times of all the rides there. So that's kind of like how we would plan out before we started walking to places. We were like, okay, you know what, let's check the app, let's see what the wait time is for this place. But keep in mind that the wait times weren't very accurate at all. And they were actually far less than what they were stating. So when we got to Thunder Mountain, it said it was 35 minutes long for the wait time. So we were like, okay, let's do this. Riley wanted to ride the choo-choo train. So we decided to just go there, and then Joel waited back with Kinsley. So when we went on Thunder Mountain, we were literally walking, and we're like, it just keeps going. So we got on and we literally walked right onto the ride, even though it said 35 minutes long. Was not true at all. Then when we went on the Cars one, it said that it was like over 60 minutes long, and we waited about 40 minutes. So that was about 20 minutes less than what it actually was. So that's what we found on every ride, is that the wait time was far less than what it was actually stating. And then some of them basically stated like 20, 35 minutes. and you just walked right onto the ride. So it was super easy. So just keep that in mind for future reference. If you see a really long line, it's probably a lot quicker. So you know how I was telling you all about the app. So with the app for Disneyland, you have to have it. And basically they are now doing 2 new rides, one at Disneyland with Star Wars and then one at Disney California, which is called the Web Slingers one in the new Adventures Campus. So they want you to do a virtual queue for it. So in order to do these virtual queues, it opens up twice a day, once at 7 a.m. and then once again at 12 p.m. So what you want to do is literally you want to get on there about 5 minutes beforehand or 10 minutes beforehand, and you just keep refreshing the page for virtual queues on the ride that you want to go on. And then all of a sudden it opens up, and you want to make sure all the tickets in your party are linked onto that app, and you hit virtual queue for that ride, and you hit join, and then boom, you're in, and it will tell you what your boarding number is. So you don't actually wait in a line yet. You have to be able to get that boarding number first before you can actually access the line to get to the ride. Very different, kind of a headache to be honest, but it kind of helped out with that ride because it's so new and everyone wants to ride it right now. So that's what I did with Web Slingers. I was kind of bummed out because I wish I would have known this, because I would have done it early in the morning for us, but I wasn't aware, and we waited in the long line just to get into the Adventures Campus, and then we found that we couldn't even ride that ride in there without having a boarding number. So they told me, okay, try to get on for 12 p.m. So I was like, great. So we went through the Adventures Campus. We wasted a lot of time waiting in that line, when in all honesty, if you get a boarding number through the virtual queue, you skip that whole long line to get into the Adventures Campus, so you don't have to wait in that. You go right to Web Slingers, you do your thing, and then you can enjoy that little area for a while, so you don't have to wait in that long line. So don't wait in that line. Make sure you get a virtual queue and try to get it at 7 a.m. or at 12 p.m. So I was able to get it for us. We rode Web Slingers, and it was so much fun. It was a really cool ride. All right, so now to get into mobile ordering. So like I said, you guys have to have the app because this is how you're gonna do your mobile orders to get your food throughout the day. So basically what you do is you go on mobile orders and you select the area that you, or the restaurant that you wanna eat at, and they'll have times listed, availabilities of what you wanna select your time for. So let's say I wanna do it from 1 to 1:20. So I select that time, then I go in, I pick out my food and everything, I order it, and I pay for it in the app, which kind of sucks also if you're with a group of people. You have to, it's really kind of you want to do one order on that whole thing, so that way they can get food at the exact same time. So then there's one person that's fronting that bill, and then other people are gonna have to pay them back in a different way. That's a little bit of a nightmare with it, to be honest. So there's that part to it. So you gotta select your time. Another kicker to it is that you're gonna wanna do that mobile order in the morning. So you basically want to plan out the time that you wanna eat in the morning time, which kind of sucks because you don't know what the day is gonna give you. You don't know what the rides are gonna give you. You don't know what the kids are gonna give you. So then you're having to plan your day around this order that you're having to do, which kind of sucked because when we were kind of getting an emotion, and we actually got reservations at a restaurant, and we were like, oh, we gotta stop to eat right now. We wanted to keep going. So that was one bummer part, is that you kind of have to stop what you're doing just so that way you can go get food, because otherwise you're not gonna get food for the day. So that's what we realized right there. Was kind of the down part to it. So you have to do the mobile order in the morning, otherwise you'll have a really hard time of getting food. And then also once you get your food, the food quality is absolutely horrible. It was not great at all. The food was disgusting. The menus were very condensed. There really wasn't many options. It was just bad. We came home on Wednesday night, and we drove through Chick-fil-A because we were like, let's just get something fast so that way we can get the kids to bed. And I told Joel, I was sitting down eating a Chick-fil-A, and I'm like, I feel like I'm eating a gourmet meal right now because that food at Disneyland was so bad. And he's like, I know, I totally agree. And it just made it really hard to get food too. So it also wasn't great for kids because you guys know, kids get hangry, they need to be fed. And it made it so difficult just to even get quick service. So that was a big bummer to it there. I really hope the whole mobile ordering goes away. That is just a pain in the butt. So if you are planning on going right now, I don't know what's gonna happen in the future, but what I'd suggest is to actually just pack your own little mini cooler. I think you can't bring anything bigger than a 6x6. So what I'm planning for our next trip is I'm actually gonna bring those little Crustables, because Riley loves PB&J sandwiches, and that's really easy for me just to keep in the refrigerator in the room. So I'm gonna bring those, and then I'm gonna have little containers of fresh chopped up fruit in each container, so that way I can just grab that container and put it in our cooler for the day. So that is my plan. So bring as much food as you can yourself. I brought a ton of snacks, and that ended up being what Riley was living off of because she did not want to touch any of the food at any of the places. Like, she did not like it. She loves pizza, but when we sat down at that restaurant to eat the pizza, it was so salty. She took a bite of it and was just like, yuck, I didn't want to touch this. So I was like, great, how am I gonna feed this girl? So this girl lived off of a ton of fruit, let's just say that. So that was another big bummer, is just, it was hard to order. It was crappy with having to pick the times, and then the food wasn't the best either. So I suggest trying to bring your own food. Oh, and also, you'll know when you do a mobile order, your time will open up at like probably like 4 or 5 minutes before like your actual window. So let's say if I ordered for 1 to 1:20, my time to open up to say I'm here will be about 12:55. So you don't want to hit I'm here right when you get there. You want to hit it when you're walking there, because even though if you say I'm here, you still have to wait even longer to be called up and wait in the queue line. I asked one of the employees, I was like, I haven't done a mobile order yet. I go, how do I find them in here to show you that I ordered? And she's like, oh, I don't know. Every phone is different. And I'm like, I go, you do realize that majority of the population has an iPhone, right? They all look the same. Did not want to help me. So I figured it out, thankfully, because it's my generation. We're pretty good with the phone. It sucks for, my parents' generation and older, because they don't understand that stuff. It's so complicated to them. So that's another bummer there. So I was doing everything from my phone. And then, once I figured that out, I hit the I'm here button, and she still wouldn't let me be in line until it said it was ready, even though I had the I'm here thing. So I was like, okay. So hit I'm here before you even reach your destination, because you're still gonna have to wait until to go pick up your damn food. And you have to wait in a line to get your food too after that too. It was just a pain. So mobile ordering needs to go out the window. So just really pack your own food. I do want to add that you still can get water, sodas, and popcorn at different kiosks. Honestly, I mainly saw drink kiosks everywhere with a couple of ice cream ones, and then you would see popcorn was like the main food one that I would see. I think I've only saw one churro stand, and yeah, I think that was like it. They had like no kiosks really open. So that was a big bummer as well. So I wish they had more available. So now getting into some of the COVID stuff. So there's no temperature checks anymore. Those were gone. 6 feet apart was gone too. We spoke to someone that went there the day prior before everything like kind of opened up with California. And they said it was night and day between the 2 days. Like the lines look so much longer because everyone had to be 6 feet apart. This one completely changed. Like they just that flew out the window. So that was the change right there. They weren't wiping down any rides or anything like that. So I brought Lysol wipes with me. I wanted to wipe down any tables that we were eating at anyways. I've gotten sick after going to Disneyland, and like it's not even just COVID, it's just you could get anything there. So just wipe things down as often as you can, and make sure you're washing your hands as often as you can. They have hand sanitizer like all throughout the park, which is really nice. So each time I saw one of those, I would grab that, but I also had my own in my stroller. So I was constantly doing that. I had the Baby Ganex one for Riley, so that way I could like wipe her hands and stuff. And then we would wash our hands, of course, every single time in the bathroom. So just wash your hands a ton. But that's one thing I did notice. They weren't really wiping anything down. So that went out the window. No social distancing. But they did keep the mobile ordering, which was kind of a bummer. I really wish that they would have just let us walk up. So yeah, so there's the difference there. And that is kind of like how the whole like COVID thing went. Everything is slowly changing. And we talked to employees, and they also said it's gonna loosen up a lot more on the way out. So I honestly suggest right now, just till they figure things out, I would say go at the end of the year. I think they'll have a lot more figured out by then. If you already have your reservation to go like soon, and this is what you're trying to like learn to be prepared for, the biggest thing is that I would say is, okay, if you go right now, just bring your own food. It will make your life a lot easier. But other than that, it was a really enjoyable day because it really wasn't packed. We rode on so many different things, and it was a blast. So also to let you guys know about the Grand California Resort that we stayed at, which is the one right there in the park at the California Adventure Park. And it was expensive because they literally doubled their prices. I got it just for the convenience with the kids, which honestly made it worth it for me. And I still would do it again there because it makes it worth it for me for the convenience with the kids. If it was just Joel and I, or just like, you know, like if you're adults, you don't have kids, stay somewhere else. But there, it just makes it a lot easier for the kids, and I really enjoyed that to it. But just to give you guys a little heads up about what we experienced there. So you can definitely tell they're a little understaffed. And it took a long time to get things done. So the nice thing is that the employees that were there were always like super nice, very accommodating, and very helpful. So when we checked in, we asked them, can we get a room like right away? Because we do have a young one and it's supposed to be a hot day and we wanted a room to be able to put her in. So they were able to give us a room right away, which was really, really great. Like, that was awesome, and I was so thankful for that. We did ask them for a crib like a week prior for our room, and then we asked them again at the desk, and we never got one until we came back at the end of the night, and we had a call, and we're like, we really need a crib. So we finally got a crib then. Also, on Riley's bed, we pulled it out, and it had like a lot of stained sheets and stuff, so I had to ask for clean sheets. It just took a little bit longer to get things done just because you could tell they were understaffed. Like with Joel, he was trying to get our bags put into our car during the day, like because we were leaving on Wednesday, and he was waiting there forever just to to have someone help him bring down the bags. So he ended up just taking them down himself and putting them in the car himself. So that was like a down part to it too. It's just that you could just tell they were understaffed. So I'm hoping that that will change. It also made it really hard with food. You could not even get into the Storyteller Cafe. You had to book that like months in advance to get into there. Like I already heard like one of the employees like over talking to some other customers, and they were like, yeah, it's booked like 1 to 2 months out. Like you can't get in here. And then the bar and grill that we ate at was where we actually ate our lunch at on Tuesday, and the food was really bad. It was not good at all. So, and then like you do like a quick service there, so we ended up getting our breakfast there, like some oatmeal and like a donut for Riley and fruit. Oh, that's where we were able to get her fresh fruit, which was amazing. She like devoured all of that. So that was good right there. But other than that, the food was really hard to even get because they had no room service at all either. So no room service, it just made it really hard to get food. So again, I just say bring your own food, especially if you have kids. But California, like for that resort, I would recommend if you have little ones, just because the convenience really helps you out. But if you have little ones that are a little older, like 4 and 5, you can easily stay somewhere else. It just helps with the really, really young ones that need to like go back to the room that have an option to go back to the room if they need to. So yeah, so that was our experience with the Grand Californian. I most likely will be booking there again just because, again, of the convenience of it. All right, so now going into about bringing kids to Disney. So bringing a baby and a toddler. And as you guys know, it is a different game when you go with the baby and a toddler. So I've honestly, because since we've been like, you know, indoors and haven't really gone anywhere, I forgot how much you needed when you went with the baby. Like I literally forgot how much you had to pack. And it was crazy. So I was getting everything in order, and I definitely found ways to just kind of make it very enjoyable. Like we didn't have to take Kinsley back to the room at all. Like her little setup, what I created for her, worked out so good. So we're first gonna go into what I did for Kinsley, because I saw a lot of little babies there, and ones that were even younger than her, that were just hanging out in mom and dad's arms in the sun with a hat on, legs and everything exposed, which they get a lot hotter when you're holding them. So what I did is I actually took my UPPAbaby Vista, and I bought a Thule stroller, a double stroller, everything for this, but I didn't want to put her in a car seat. And this is another thing, is I saw a lot of people with the car seats. The car seats get a lot hotter for the babies in them. So if a car seat's outdoors, it's gonna be even hotter in there than it is gonna be on the outside. So I do not recommend bringing a car seat for your little one to Disneyland at all, especially because of the way that recline that they are in, and they fall into such a deep sleep from that warmth. It can be really dangerous for them. So I do not recommend the car seat thing. Try to get either a bassinet or a toddler or like a rumble seat that can fold completely flat. So I actually was DMing one of you guys, and you're like, why didn't you take your bassinet? And I was like, oh my God, that would have been the best decision ever. I don't know why, but I forgot about my bassinet. And it's because it was in our storage closet and I don't really use it for Kinsley. So what I ended up doing though, and it ended up, what I did honestly worked out perfectly. It totally worked out because I could recline her seat completely horizontal. So her seat was completely horizontal. The footrest was completely up. So I actually created a bassinet for her. And then I had the infant insert, which was really nice and breathable. So it kind of kept her head in place. It kept her strapped in so she wasn't jiggling around. And she just was like so comfy in there. It was amazing. So I took my little copper and pearl cover, which is a car seat cover. I covered that up, and the Up a Baby Vista has like another sunshade that comes out in it. So that created even more shade for her. And I had that covered up and I could see through the little hole to, like, you know, keep an eye on her if I needed to. And then I set up 2 fans on both sides of the stroller. So they were blowing air into her stroller for her. And let me tell you, you put your hand in there because you're like wondering, because you're like, oh God, this is going to circulate hot air. Like, this is not going to work. And that's what I was concerned about, which is why I wanted to have access to that room. It actually was cold in there. It was legit 20 degrees, probably 10 to 20 degrees cooler inside of her little cocoon than it was on the outside. So it was about 70 degrees for her in there. And it got to the point where even like I would feel her legs and they were like a little chilly. So I would like put her like my little muslin blanket, like my nursing cover on her. And she loved that because she could just like kind of like play with it because she's wanting to grab a lot of things right now. So, and that was perfect for her. She like literally was just living life in that thing. Like I called it her little oasis because it was completely different climate inside of there than it was on the outside. So having those 2 fans were amazing. I'm gonna link the fans that I used down below, all the products that I used down below, so that way you guys can check these ones out because these fans were bomb. They lasted for a really long time too. They have multiple speeds, so you can have it like go like slow, medium, fast. And they just hook on to everything and they blow out really good air. So I highly recommend the fans. I had 2 on both sides for her. And then when they started to die at the end of the day, I actually had a battery pack. And you want a battery pack now going to Disneyland because you have to do everything on your phone. So if you lose that phone or that phone battery dies, you're screwed. So you need a battery pack. So the battery pack that I bought will be linked down below. It actually has a solar charger on it, which is awesome. So you charge it up, you know, in the middle of the night, over the night. And then when it starts, like, you know, when that battery starts, because you know, you're charging things, so that battery or the battery pack is going to start dying. Well, it's got a whole side that's a solar panel, so it actually recharges the battery pack from the sun, which is amazing. And it has like 4 different ports for USB, so you can charge multiple things at once. So what I did with the fans is I actually had their cords like all in a little baggie, like easy access, pulled out the cords, plugged them into the battery pack, which I hooked onto the stroller, and then plugged them into the fans. And the fans still work when they're charging. So even if they were dead and I plugged them in, boom, the fans will be able to turn on and work. So I did that, which was awesome. My mom used it to charge her phone. I used it to charge my phone. I used it to charge the fans. Like, it was perfection. Like, that battery pack is a must-have for anyone, honestly. If you're ever outdoors or anything like that, that battery pack is a huge must-have to have. So I love it. It's awesome. Highly recommend it. So that was her little setup and it worked out really, really good for us. I kept her in loose clothing, did not want to put her in anything tight. I saw one little baby in black leggings and this baby was probably like 3-4 months old as well. And it was so fussy because he was outdoors, not in anything. Mom was holding him, trying to feed him a bottle. And I'm just like, this baby needs to be stripped down. Like, because babies cannot control their temperature. That's like, you know, why you want to be really careful with the heat. And because their bodies don't know how to regulate temperature yet. So that's why I'm so grateful that that worked out for us, because otherwise she would have been right in that room and me and Joel would have been switching off. So we still chose to go just because I really wanted to do something for Riley. Like, it's been a really hard last year for us and we really need to do something as a family. And I was like, we'll just kind of like, we'll figure it out if it doesn't go as planned and we'll just make adjustments. But it ended up working out perfectly because of that whole little setup that I had. It was awesome. So highly recommend the fans, you guys. Get them with the battery charger. perfect. Another great thing about the parks is that they actually have a baby center. So if you're even in like any bathroom throughout the parks, you'll see where the changing pads are. It will tell you like, please come visit the baby center, where you can get all the baby supplies too from there. So there's one in each park that you can go to. I wish that they had two, especially in Disneyland, because they had one in the front and I wish they had one in the back of the park. So then you didn't have to walk like really far to that one. I wish they had two, but they're awesome. I used them for Riley. That's when I first discovered them. But they're well AC'd rooms. Like they basically have separate little rooms where you can nurse in if you want to nurse privately. They have a ton of changing tables there with liners and everything. And then also if you ran out of formula or ran out of diapers or anything that you needed, you could actually buy there in that store. So I love it. They just don't tell you. I feel like they don't really tell you about it unless you read the little sign that's right there by the changing pads in the bathrooms. So they have them at both places. You can look it up, ask them. It's super easy to find and they're awesome. I used them a ton with Riley. I ended up not using the center at all this time, but I used it a lot with Riley. I ended up just changing. I even changed Kinsley sometimes. What I did is I put the cover and like kind of shielded her in her little seat. Like if I didn't have a bathroom near us and I didn't know where there was one, I changed her really quickly in there and it made it really easy. So I was conscious, because with little ones like that, they're always peeing and pooping. So I changed her so much. So I did that with Kinsley. And then with Riley, she's really easy for me to change. I could just change her. I put her in a stall really fast. I have her change, like standing up, and I just change her standing up. They do that at school, so she knows the protocol with that. So it's super easy and quick. So yeah, but I definitely recommend the baby centers. They're awesome. Even if you just want to get out of the heat for a little bit and nurse and just kind of relax, go there and just enjoy it. And then also for little ones, when you're going to the parks right now, what I knew is that I actually talked to one of you guys that was there on Monday, and I went there Tuesday and Wednesday, and you told me, get to Fantasyland first. It gets packed around noon. So I was like, okay, this was like the best advice, because I told my family, I was like, we gotta go to Fantasyland first. So we hit up Fantasyland, we hit all those rides there, and we got out. And by the time that we got out, it was like 12 to 1. And that's when it started getting crazy, like packed over there. And then once you left that area and went to other areas in the park, it was dead. It was so weird how everyone just congregated in Fantasyland. There was like everywhere else was super dead. It was crazy. So Fantasyland right when it opens up, and then get out of there. So that was probably one of the best tips I got from one of you guys too. All right, so for my last tip and my little secret that I'm sharing with you guys that not many people know about. Some of you might know about it, but not many know about it. And that is called ride switch, my friends. And what ride switch is say if you have a little one, so like I said, we had Kinsley. So Kinsley, I didn't really want to put her on any rides, to be honest. So we always had someone waiting with her. So if you have that, what you do is you go to the front of the line to the person standing there. You let them know, hey, I'm going to do a ride switch. I've got a little one. So you take the 2 tickets of the people that you want to switch with. So you take their tickets, you scan them. And so what would happen is like Joel and my dad would sometimes take Riley, and they would wait in the line to go on the ride. And then when they came back, I would go with my mom and with Riley, and my dad and Joel would stay with the baby. So that's how we did it. And what's awesome about that is that the first people that go have to wait in that line. So if there is a line that is like, 20 minutes long, 30 minutes long, whatever, they wait in that line. But when they come out, you get the new party, you go and get your ticket scanned, and you go right through Fast Pass. So there's no Fast Passes right now, which I also forgot to mention in the COVID section, but there are no Fast Passes right now. So this actually allows you to go through the Fast Pass line, was with the ride switch, and it was awesome. So Riley got to ride everything twice. So we had a blast with that. So what we did a lot of the times is I totally forgot about it in the beginning, and then I was like, wait a second, ask about ride switch. So I left the group and they're like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm doing ride switch. And I asked a person and they just like couldn't figure it out. I was like, no, I remember me and my mom, we did this with Riley when we took her by ourselves. And I was like, God, how did I forget about this? So once I remembered that, it wasn't like much throughout the day that I remembered it. But it made it so enjoyable, because what we just did is we just had 2 people waiting with Kinsley, 2 people took Riley on the ride, and then we switched, and Riley got to ride the ride multiple times. So best little thing ever. You just have to scan as many tickets as you want to go through the ride switch. So it was awesome. It was great. We really loved it. And it made it so enjoyable for her and enjoyable for all of us to be able to experience it with her, because at her age right now, like, she really is a lot more aware. This girl has been on Pirates of the Caribbean, like a ton of rides, even before like this third time that she's gone, because I took her at 10 months old and I took her again at like 13, 14 months old. I think it was about 14 months old the last time I took her. And then now she's 2 years and 8 months. So she's getting closer to 3. But yeah, so she's a lot more aware, and then we're going to be planning our next trip for her on her birthday. So that falls in the middle of the week, which is perfect. Kids are back in school. I'm hoping they have the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique open to where I could have her dressed up as a princess and I can go through all that with her. It will also be a lot easier with Kinsley because Kinsley will be over 7 months old, which is a lot easier, and you're not changing diapers legit every 20, 30 minutes. And I could put her outward facing. I couldn't do her outward facing in the carrier this time because she's still too young. So she could be outward facing. She could be in the double stroller with Riley and not have to be in a car seat or anything like that. So it'll just be so much easier. But the way that I did everything this time, like, honestly, it was really fun, and we made it work. And also having my parents there being like extra hands helped a ton as well. So biggest advice though is you got to download the app, start learning it before you even get in there. Follow my tips with the virtual queues and the mobile ordering and everything, because if they still have that going on. I don't think virtual queues is going to go away, so make sure you learn how to do that. And also have someone else handling a phone too. Like, have someone working and doing all the mobile ordering and the food stuff, then have someone else who's like managing like the virtual queues and stuff, because it honestly became a lot with me having to do everything, and then I had to do the kids. I had to deal with the kids too. So it was a little stressful for me at times, which is why I did not vlog as much, because I was like, my mind was like focusing on so many different things at once. So that's like one of the bummers now that they're doing so much on the phone, because I'm like, I like to just like, I only take my phone out to take pictures. Like, I like to just live in the moment. And that's what I was kind of like also frustrated with, because I was like, I just don't want to sit on my damn phone all the time. So yeah, anyways, that was our whole trip. I hope you guys found this video helpful with everything. I'm gonna link everything down below that we used that made things really easy. I also will link all the stuff for Riley's outfits as well. I linked them all on my Instagram stories, and I also saved a highlight that's called Disney Links. So that also has everything linked and talking about like why it worked for us and blah, blah, blah. So those all worked. The fans that I recommend, I also had a neck fan that like, it wasn't the red one. Someone asked me about the red neck fan. I would not recommend that one. That one was Joel's that he was given to by a client. It sucked. It was horrible. It didn't really work. The best one was that little white one that I had. So I'll link that one down below too, because it has like a little neck strap, and it also like, you could set it up and it has a little holder for your phone. So like, say if you're sitting at a table, you could have the fan blowing on you and you can have your phone in front of you if you wanted to watch something or whatever. But yeah, I really like that fan because I used that on Kinsley when I had her in the carrier for some of the rides. I would just keep blowing it on her. So that made it easy. But yeah, also with the baby, you got to bring a carrier. And I should also talk about this. Sorry, this video is going to be forever long. So a carrier that I actually recommend. Okay, so I have the Ergo Omni 360, the cool mesh one, and I grabbed that one because of the mesh on it and the sunshade. And it's an easygoing carrier. It's easy to get them in. You can wear them in multiple different ways, which is awesome about it, right? Well, I did not know that the Nuna had a sunshade too, and the Nuna is also a mesh. I did some more research on that, and I actually like the Nuna a little bit more because it definitely gave me more support. It was easier on my back. My back started really giving when I was carrying Kinsley because my back was already weak the second day. So the Nuna has a lot better support. And another thing that I like about the Nuna is that it actually has, like, you hook it on and put it on, tighten everything up yourself without the baby in it. And it's got a padding right here. And then what you do is you put the baby in, you close it up, and it's just a magnet. So it just magnets like right onto your shoulders. So you're not having to readjust everything once the baby's in there, which is so much easier and easier to put on yourself. That's one thing I like about it. And then also having that padding right there also kind of keeps that sweat, like if it's hot, they just start sweating against you. So it keeps a little barrier, which is kind of like the down part to it, because I know some people like to nurse in the Ergo Baby carrier. I watch a lot of videos on that. I haven't figured out how to do it myself yet, but I know that's why some people like the Ergo. So that's like the down part of the Nuna. If you like to nurse in the carrier, the Nuna will probably be a little difficult with that because it does have that padding in front. But I don't really know how to do the whole nursing thing in the carrier, so that doesn't matter to me. So I definitely would take my Nuna next time. And I had no idea because it's hidden in there, but there is a sunshade on the Nuna too. I had no idea, and I took Riley in the Nuna when she was 10 months old, and I had her strapped to me for like 2 hours in like 90-degree weather, and I had no idea. I had a hat on her, but I had no idea about the sunshade cover. So that little thing was hidden in there. So I've definitely learned a few things since I watched a ton of videos on them. So I would recommend the Nuna Cuddle 4-in-1 because it's just the support, and you need all the support you can get when you're carrying a little one for a long time. So I will link that down below. That's one I recommend. They also are coming out with the 4 new shade colors of it too. So you guys can definitely check that out, but I'll have all that linked down below. And that is the carrier that I would recommend. I have multiple carriers. I have the Ergo Baby Omni. I have the Heirloom. I have the Embrace. I have the Nuna Cuddle. I have a Wrap. I had the Lily. Hated that one. I gave that one away. I think that's it. So I had 6 carriers. Had a lot. So Nuna Cuddle, favorite one. So I would go with that one. But anyways, that is the end of this video. I hope you guys found it helpful. Feel free to ask me any questions down below or even DM me over at Madison Miller on Instagram. I am more than happy to answer any questions that you may have. Have a wonderful trip if you're heading to Disneyland. Enjoy it. I know it's so needed right now. We're all just like itching. Just go back to somewhat of a normalcy, and it was just a great family trip. So it was awesome. But I hope this video helped you guys and helped you prepare for your next trip, and I will see you all in my next one. Bye.